Welcome to DSouza Daily. This is a special episode where I'm interviewing a professional for the very first time. Please welcome Frank D'Agnello. Is a seasoned GST HST specialist with extensive experience in indirect tax advisory, particularly in the areas of real estate and complex transactions. Drawing from a background that includes work aligned with Canada Revenue Agency frameworks, he provides strategic guidance on compliance, audit risk, and rebate structuring. Frank is known for helping professionals navigate nuanced tax rules with clarity, especially in new construction and investment property scenarios. His insights bridge technical tax interpretation with practical real-world application for investors, developers, and mortgage professionals. So please help me welcome Frank to our show. Frank, welcome to this show. And how do you feel coming to our show? And are you prepared for some tough questions?
Wilson, thank you very much for having me. Yes, definitely. I just want to correct, if you're okay, my last name is pronounced Danilo. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here, and thank you for having me and for covering my background. So that's basically, you covered everything. Just add a little bit. Retired 30 years. I worked at CRA in GST and HST. That's where my experience comes from. And I've been doing consulting for almost 3 years right now.
Beautiful. And my first question is from your experience at Canada Revenue Agency. What is the biggest misunderstanding professionals have today about GST, HST rebates on new constructions?
I would say they just don't know exactly how they work. Because I've seen posts of people posting, well, GST doesn't have to be paid to the builder, which is incorrect. GST always has to be paid on the new construction. It's whether or not the rebate gets assigned by the builder, gets assigned to the builder. So the builder credits the purchaser, and then the builder takes the credit for the same amount. Or if the builder doesn't want to have anything to do with the rebate, charges the HST, and then the purchaser, if eligible, get to claim it back directly from the government.
That leads to my second question. How does the structure of pre-construction purchase, especially assignments, impact rebate eligibility and potential tax exposures?
That one is hard for me to explain because I don't know a lot about the pre-construction and everything. And I did see something recently where the pre-construction could cause issues because in pre-construction, let's say it's going to be $1 million. Yeah. They're going to pay $130,000 in HST on a pre-construction anyway. So that HST doesn't come into play until that condo or new house or whatever it is actually changes hands. So the rebate only applies once the purchase has been made. So even though it's a pre-construction condo, and I'll use a condo as an example, is there's no rebate available until that condo is constructed and the paperwork is done where the purchaser actually takes possession, has to pay the balance, so on and so forth.
I'm not sure whether you can answer these questions, but I mean, I'm catering to the mortgage industry this particular episode, and is related to mortgage field. From a lender's perspective, should the GST HST rebate be treated as a guaranteed funds or conditional, and why?
It depends on the situation because there's multiple rebates available. That's why it's a big issue because there's not only the one rebate, like there's the new rebate for first-time home buyers. There's the original new housing rebate. There's the Ontario portion of the federal. Now there's the April 1st, 2026 to March 31st, 2027 rebate. Every single one of those rebate is a different rebate. Then there's also for people that want to buy rental properties. So that all comes into play, because then there's a purpose-built rebate where there's 100% rebate available for rental properties as well. So to answer that question is very hard, because it all depends on the eligibility of the purchaser to be able to claim that rebate. So can I say for sure that every purchaser will be eligible? No. So the mortgage industry has to take a look, if they want to delve into it, a little bit farther into each transaction and any applicable rebate. So that might be delving into a little bit more. I guess to answer your question, I wouldn't take it as 100% guaranteed that those funds will be recoverable.
No, leading to that, I'm piggybacking on whatever I just asked you now, because I was just talking to one of my clients. As a matter of fact, I just got an application from him, and he has been to the builder. He has not paid the deposit yet, right?
Right.
And the builder has two pricing. One is before the rebate, that's price.
Right.
And the second pricing is after the rebate. So my question here is, how should a mortgage broker or mortgage agent structure a deal when clients are relying on rebates for closing? What risks are often overlooked, like in terms of auditing and, in terms of auditing point of view, and as an agent, how should I take that value? That some clients might, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. Somebody is taking the pricing before the rebate, it will be, obviously it will be higher. So what's your take on this one?
It depends on the situation. I'll give you a perfect example right now, if you're okay with it. I actually had an ex-coworker just actually contacted me. He wants to hire me to do his rebate, because what happened is, and this may apply, may not apply, because he purchased a new house and the builder did the exact same thing, came up with a price with the HST included, a price without the HST included. But the agreement of purchase and sale stated in there that even though the builder would credit the HST to the purchaser, if something happened and the rebate was not allowed by the CRA, the purchaser would have to pay the HST to the builder. So my client, who's a very smart individual, said, I don't like that. And so he actually came back with a stipulation saying, if you agree that I don't have to pay the HST, if there's an issue with the rebate because of you, I don't have to pay it. So the builder chose not to. So my client decided to go with my recommendation of paying the HST to the builder. He has 2 years to claim it back. And now we just have to wait for the forms to be available for him to claim it back. So yes, it is an outlay up front of, let's say, up to $130,000 extra. But this way, if there is eligibility, you are getting that check or direct deposit from the federal government without having to deal with anybody else. And the rebate forms are prepared correctly. So it's almost a situation by situation.
Thank you for the clarification on that. And I have another question. What's the difference in tax treatment between an end user and an investor when it comes to GST, HST, and how should that influence financing strategy?
It depends on exactly what type of properties they are. Are they buying brand new housing to rent out? Are they buying buildings to rent out? So it all depends, because when investors, they have rental rebates, which is different. It's similar to the new housing rebates, but it depends on every situation and the difference in types of housing, whether it's single, multiple, whether it's fourplexes or more, every single one of them has a different eligibility for a rebate and potential. So they have to take a look at the size of the type of property and what they're entitled to. And now this is strictly on new construction. That's where, or substantial renovations, where the rebates apply. If it's used housing, there is no HST unless it was being used in Airbnbs and all that, and that could change things as well. But from an investor perspective, if they're going to rent it out, brand new housing, they do get some rebates as well. However, they won't qualify necessarily for the maximum, like 130, 100,000, whatever there are, because there are stipulations in relation to how and who the rebates apply to.
And looking ahead, do you see the policy tightening or expansion around the GST, HST rebates? And what should lenders and brokers start preparing from today?
It's hard to say if the government will expand it. I did see something on LinkedIn today, actually just this morning, that somebody said that these rebates may be open up to investors. I have no idea about that. So whether or not that happens or not, I don't know. I haven't heard anything else about potential other rebates, expanding this beyond what we have right now. So I think what it comes down to is for mortgage brokers, lenders, everybody, they take a look at what's on the market right now and deal with that, because any kind of anticipation of what may happen in the future with the government is always something that, in my opinion, a lot of times is a waste of time, because the government may just say, oh yeah, we're going to do this, but no, we're not going to do, okay, we get to that point, we're not going to do it, or something changed or whatever. So it's hard to say anything on a going forward basis. And I would say just keep it on current of exactly what has happened currently, and look at investing or financing or providing whatever they need to provide based on the current rebates that are available.
Actually, I was preparing for this interview 2 days back. I had seen somewhere there was a deadline from the government for the investor properties, the start date and end date, but I couldn't find it. Anyway, I'll do some research, and probably I'll come back to you on this privately. And if people have questions, I will answer them later on regarding rebate for the investment properties. And final questions, Frank, it's a very, very complex. To be honest with you, I was at a conference last week, and people from different banks, and the senior management from the different banks, and there are a lot of uncertainties when it comes to this GST, HST rebate, how the lenders will look into that, and how they treat. Nobody knows, right? So
right.
I think probably time will tell us more, give us more details, as you said. And when it comes to any GST, HST topics, what are the complications you have seen in, like you were a consultant, you talk to many people. What are the major pitfalls they face? And I'm sure ignorance also costs them money, right? So, and lack of knowledge. So what kind of situation you come across? And probably that will enlighten a lot of viewers who are watching this particular episode, and probably it might help them too to take a professional advice.
Just in relation to the rebates, or anything to do with GST and HST?
Anything to do with the HST and GST.
I think, in my opinion, this is my opinion only, is because a lot of people rely on their accountants, potentially real estate lawyers as well, in relation to GST and HST. Unless those accountants know and have dealt with GST and HST, they may not know all the fine tuning of what the HST applies. Like on a basic transaction and everything, yes, it's is it 13%, 5% as applies. It comes down to where there's specific situations that may arise for transactions that people don't even know about. And some of it is deeming rules, where the HST and GST has deeming rules. Even though someone didn't do something, they are deemed to have done it. So the government wants their tax on it. Now, if people don't spend a lot of time, and accounts, and I'm not picking on accounts, they're good at income tax, they're good at what they do. I always refer everything back to them. But in terms of the GST and the HST, it's a lot of stuff that they think is correct is not necessarily correct. So, and then a lot of times as well, their clients don't even bring the issues to them. So by the time the accountant sees it, it's too late for them to deal with anything as well. And that's a lot of times where I get involved.
Beautiful. And final question, Frank, thank you for coming in today. I mean, you are very, very busy. I think I had to reschedule quite a few times because of your schedule did not meet. And thank you for sharing your valuable insight when it comes to HST and GST. And if we have more questions, I'll probably schedule another session with you, depending on our viewers' interest. And going back to, if someone wants some help from you, how do they contact you? Obviously, I will be putting your contact number and the email address in the description of this particular video. And what's the best way to contact you and how to go about it?
I appreciate you having me, Wilson. Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure. In terms, if they go to my website, frankshstconsulting.ca, it has my contact information on there, my phone number, my email address. It also has the ability to book online consultations with me, whether it's a paid consultation or just an initial consultation, to be able to see how I can help them. And if I can help them, that is probably the best way. The other way is if they want to find me on LinkedIn under Frank Danilo and Frank's HST Consulting, they can send me a message via LinkedIn, and then we can connect from there.
Thank you so much, Frank, and thanks for your time again. Thank you for watching this particular episodes, and I'm requesting, if you guys have any questions related to HST and GST, I won't promise that I'll get you 100% answers. I'll do my best to go back to Frank and get answers from him if they're general questions. But if it's specific to your business, I encourage you to talk to Frank and book a meeting with him and go one-on-one. I'll pick up a phone and call him and consult him for your professional advice. But feel free to comment in the chat below. I think this particular episode will go on all platforms, so Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. It will be there everywhere. Post your comments there, and if you learn something different, if you have any other different ideas on this particular topic, feel free to share. We want to learn from everyone. And if you have specific questions, as I said before, feel free to ask. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon with another episode.